Hey guys, Matthew here once again, and following on from the previous video I made about Frostblades, I have been playing and leveling and figuring out this character of Frostblade Pathfinder, which is currently primarily claw-based, CI, bunch of flasks, and 100% cold damage, as I mentioned I would be doing. Now, Frostblades, when first released, had quite a myriad of problems, and since then it has come a long way to becoming a pretty damn nice skill, actually. Since it was first released, it's had its range improved, it's had additional projectiles, it's had its damage improved, it's had the name locking and targeting system for itself improved. Overall, it's pretty much gone across the board, just upwards and better. And recently, the past patch, the passive tree has been quite vastly improved to fit things like a Frostblade character. So all in all, it's the best time to ever play this sort of character and skill and build, and it's going quite damn well. Now, as you may know, Frostblades doesn't have the greatest single target, and I haven't really managed to fix that yet. We're still a work in progress on the character, but the clear speed, the playstyle of the character has been some of the funnest, well, playstyle and funnest character I've played in quite a few months. Close enough to the, let's say, Namahu Cyclone sort of character. That's the level of enjoyment I'm getting out of this Frostblade clear speed. It's been truly fun to map with and just get into the leveling process and just, you know, play the game with. I've just been having so much fun actually just, you know, going out there and mapping and trying to do, you know, legacy bullshit, trying to get all kinds of reliquary keys, doing breaches, all sorts of nonsense like that. It's been quite a lot of fun. Now, the single target still isn't the greatest thing ever, but at my current gear level, it certainly hasn't been an issue yet, and most likely won't even come close to being an issue until tier 16. At tier 16, I would guess that it's probably going to be a bit slow, but completely doable, and these are just a couple of little examples for single target so far with this build. And as you can see, you freeze things quite a lot, and you do still do adequate damage for quite a lot of this stuff. Exactly how bad the single target is against this super endgame we'll see in the coming days, but for now I'll go over the character. Now, primarily for this current video, I don't want to show a full guide or setup on the character because there's still some improvements I'm going to be making and adjustments as we go along, since I'm currently just level 87 and still leveling my way through to the end game. You can see the lengths, the DPS, just a few of the basic things on the left hand side there. Mostly what I want to talk about is kind of following on from what I did in the previous video about chain and not chain and what sort of weapons and stuff you want to use. So right now I'm using a claw that's got about 300 fizz DPS, some good attack speed and some good crit. For Frostblades, good attack speed is pretty damn important because with multi-strike you don't want to get locked down too long, and the faster your attack speed, just the nicer it's going to feel transitioning to different monsters and transitioning for the clear speed with the chains and all that. This weapon is currently only, let's say, a bit more advanced than a Touch of Anguish. So for Touch of Anguish, it's a really good starter weapon, primarily because it does have that chain mod on it. And the chain is actually pretty valuable overall through clear speed. Throughout most of the little clips I showed just before this, I don't think I used chain in any of them. And you can see the clear speed was fine, but incorporating chain into the build is a lot smoother and a lot nicer for the area overall, especially for really wide open maps. And I wanted to give an example of this in a map I'll run in a second. So at the moment, the reason I'm using this claw over a Touch of Anguish is because the chain makes it a lot nicer, and just for clear speed in general, but we don't have problems with clear speed. Even without chain, it's just a little clunky. The fact is, we want to go heavily out of our way to improve our single target after getting to a certain level of decent clear speed. So this thing is going to give us a lot more single target damage because it's got a lot more DPS than something like this. It's quite a bit faster, it's got more damage, you know, and some crit multi, all that sort of stuff. But I mostly wanted to just go over a bit of the how you play with chain or without chain. Now, up until about level 87, I've played strictly without chain whatsoever. But I have been recently trying to incorporate a bit of chain into my setup, as I mentioned I would, over faster attacks. So currently the setup is Frostblades, weapon early damage, multi-strike, crit strikes, and added cold, and then chain support. Now I will have cold pen here in the end instead of this, but at the moment this is just fine. I have lots of penetration at this stage, and I don't really need any more penetration, even though penetration might still be more damage than this. At the moment, added cold does give me an absolute shitload of damage, so I'm sticking with it. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so chain clear speed, I'll start out by showing you what non-chain clear speed looks like, and as you can tell, it cuts your damage by well over half because it's 34% less at the moment, and you lose out on 50 attack speed here. But the non-chain clear speed is what I've been running around with, and it's been perfectly fine, but you'll see the difference when we put chain in the end. All that this current setup does is more or less allow me to not have to worry about changing for single target when I come across the heavy single target. But at my level of gear and maps that I'm running right now, it doesn't really matter even having chain in the setup. So you can see I don't really feel like I need chain right now, especially for this level of map, but put chain in for this level of map and you will see that it's just a bit nicer on the clear speed because the chains go a bit further out to the monsters, and it does just clean up a bit quicker, a bit nicer. Let's see if we can find just a few more monsters because it's a bit of a small map. So it's kind of tough to incorporate chain in this setup the way I'm playing it without a touch of anguish, unless you overgear the current content like I do. If you don't, then a touch of anguish is actually a really good starter, and it's super cheap and will get you going, and it will give you some really good clear speed. Ultimately, if you're building a character like mine and you don't care about guardians or the really high-end bosses, then touch of anguish is probably all you'll ever need, and just map away, have fun with your Frostblade character, and it'll feel great. If you're gonna do what I'm trying to do, then you probably want to do something like this and maybe not run with chain all that often, but we'll see if this is even good enough for guardians, because as far as I'm concerned, maybe we'll even have to shove Abyssus into the setup, which becomes completely ridiculous. But that's just a bit of a quick demo of what chain and non-chain does, and then this is our setup currently for single target. Drop a Vile Lightning Trap, a Frost Bomb for even more penetration, Ancestral Protector. I also have him, which is purely for the attack speed. He does no damage whatsoever, but he gives you 14% more attack speed while he's down. So as you can see, 115k, pop the totem, boom, 130. So he'll die pretty quickly if he gets hit by anything, but otherwise he buffs your DPS quite nicely when he's going to be up. I won't go over the full character in detail at the moment, but you can see I'm running Hatred, Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice is pretty important for our little projectiles to help on the clear speed, because sometimes you'll miss stuff, but Herald of Ice goes a long way to filling in the gaps there. Besides that, there's not too much else to mention at the moment. Brown Rot Whalers are really good as a sort of base boot, just because they have some good fizz damage, good movement speed, energy shield, and a bit of proj damage, which isn't that important anyway. I have been crafting my own energy shield gear, got pretty lucky there. This, I don't know, it's kind of average. That's not too bad, I suppose. And now I've got some pretty insane rings that you'll be able to see just by looking at my character profile, and we're filling out quite a lot of stuff on our amulet. This is all stuff I'll hopefully go over in, a conclusion video for the character, which is more of a build guide. But for now, Frostblade's pretty damn good, and I do recommend you give it a shot. If you want to try something out like this, Touch of Anguish, by all means, will get you going very far. But you can look out for, good claws, good daggers, good swords, or build a Varanastra tree around it. It's pretty flexible, I feel, currently for what you're going to be doing with a Frostblade sort of character. Now lastly, I'll just go over real quick sort of the passive tree. I did have to take Charisma to fit all my auras in. We do have Vile Pact and Ghost Reaver, of course, for our leech. Most of our leech is coming straight from here, which is really nice and convenient, but we do get a bit of extra leech from its series Promise. Traveled around for a bit of the Alchemist, flask nodes, and we have a lot of the conversion, the penetration, as I mentioned earlier. Of course, using 2 Fight for Survivals at the moment as well, 30% additional penetration in the end. Wise Oak right now giving another 30%. All in all, it's been a pretty smooth character, but in the end, for the real endgame content, it's probably going to be kind of expensive. Hopefully worth it though. At this stage, I can see myself taking this to the low level 90s, maybe even trying to map through for a bit of a mid-90 grind. It's been quite a lot of fun. So that's it for this video today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.